things I've watched. This means new releases, and like I said, things I haven't seen before. And first up on this list, we have Paris, Texas. Paris, Texas, Paris, Texas, Paris, Texas. Followed by some tapping. And I'm gonna show you why I'm tapping on this really soon. Anyhow, this is my movie ticket from Paris, Texas. Paris, Texas. I saw this on the 3rd of September. I saw it by myself. But Paris, Texas is a 1984 film by Wim. I forgot his name. Let me look it up. Wim Wenders. And I saw this in theater, and I think they had it in theater because it was the 40th anniversary of the film. And as of cast and crew, I don't know any really big names in there aside from Harry Dean Stanton. If you don't know who Harry Dean Stanton is, he is in the original Alien, and he's in David Lynch's Wild at Heart. But I will say, I honestly enjoyed this movie. I went in there knowing nothing about it, and I fell in love with the film. And I'll say Harry Dean Stanton's character of Travis, like the last scene in which Travis is talking to Jane, his wife, is powerful, and it really just sticks with you. But aside from just Harry as an actor, I think there should be a lot more praise given to the actor who plays Hunter, who is a child. He really does give a solid performance for a kid, and that just reminded me how we don't really have, like, we need to bring back like the junior Oscars or something for children, because I sometimes feel like children can outperform their adult co-workers in films. That's just me. But Paris, Texas, and out of a 5, I gave it a solid 4. Aside from like the acting and the monologue, like the dialogue between actors, I just like some of the shots, especially once they are in Texas, like back in Texas for the film, because it starts off in Texas and then we're in California and then it goes back to Texas. But I really like the return to Texas when they're in, I think, Houston, and it's the scenes between the character of Travis and his wife. But those were cool, and I'll never forget this little ticket. I honestly have not taken it out of my wallet since I seen the movie. I saw the movie like in September 3rd. It is October 4th. So I've had it in there for like a month. I haven't taken it out until like recently because I remembered it was in here. Enough tapping of the wallet. Next up, a new film that I saw was Beetle Juice. And honestly, I'm so sad I didn't get to finish it. And you're gonna be like, what do you mean you didn't finish the new Beetlejuice movie? It was in theaters. Yeah, well, a funny story about that. The theater I went to was a fucking nightmare. It was bad. I usually am like used to people like whispering in theaters and stuff, but this was a whole different case. In the row in front of me, there was this man, and I am not sure if he had paid for a ticket or if he had snuck in there, start, he entered, he had been talking to himself the whole time. And I was like, okay, whatever. Trailers are on, I don't give a fuck. But then the movie started and he was still talking to himself and making really loud commentary, and usually I wouldn't care if I wasn't so close. Like, he was in the row in front of me, so I was gonna hear everything. So watching the film, like just concentrating, was hard because this man was talking. And then it's like in the middle of it, I think it'd been like 40 minutes in, this man starts to yell at the screen. And I just can't concentrate. Like, I can't concentrate while watching the film. This guy's like yelling. This man is literally yelling at the screen, and I feel bad because I don't want to necessarily like tell on this person, but at the same time I can't concentrate on my movie. So I just like got up and left because I was just done. I couldn't deal with that. Like, I couldn't concentrate. Like, that's annoying enough. Like, when I'm watching something, I can't have some guy yelling at the screen. But from like what I saw, the film seemed kind of funny, and I was surprised to see that Willem Dafoe was in it. If you don't know, Willem Dafoe is one of my favorite actors. So it's just like, Willem Dafoe. Like, I really wish I got to finish it to see where this film was really going and like what was the outcome, but unfortunately I didn't complete that. But that same day, I saw another movie in theaters. This was on like September 6th. I saw Mysterious Skin by, it's a 2004 film by Greg Araki. And this film, I wouldn't say I enjoyed. It is very hard to say you enjoyed the film because of the nature and the topic of the subject in the film. If I'm just gonna be honest, this film is about sexual assault of children, and we get to see the two ways these characters cope with how they were assaulted. But I saw it in theaters. I saw it at Brain Dead Studios, which, if you don't know, it's like a movie theater in Fairfax and like Los Angeles. But I think the film was good. It was just really sad. Like, I wanted to cry, but in a theater full of people, I really sometimes do contain my emotions. My biggest ick was not just like people, but like I said, this is a very serious, like, there are parts where it does get very serious, and I think people in the audience were just not taking it serious, especially at the very start where it was very clear what was happening to this child, and people were laughing. I was just like, not everything needs a little giggle. This is like, it's just like this kid is being, you know, and people are giggling in the crowd, and I was just like, now is not the time for that. But that was already a big, I just couldn't. Next trigger, along with that, with the talking, we have my So de Janeiro. This really smells good. But anywho, I'm gonna move on to the next film on here that's kind of new. Not new, but that I saw in theaters and I didn't see before. And this is a documentary by Les Blank. It was released in 1982 and it's called Burden of Dreams. This documentary is, I think, it's focused on Werner Herzog and just the filming process of Fitzcarraldo. Fitzcarraldo is a film that was directed by Werner Herzog in the Amazon forest in 1979, where there's a lot of issues in the filming. And I actually haven't seen Fitzcarraldo, but I have seen other films by Werner Herzog in the past. Those are more documentary, but this is a film by Les Blank on Werner Herzog's film. Like, just the process, but this was particularly special. This viewing was particularly special to me because I saw this at the Academy Museum of Motion Picture. And if you don't know, that's like a film museum in Los Angeles. And at times they have like viewings and stuff. And for this viewing, they had a Q&A with director Werner Herzog. If you don't know who Werner Herzog is, he's a famous German director. He has appeared in The Mandalorian. And if you don't know who he is in The Mandalorian, it's the very first episode. And he's the guy who's like, I would like to see the baby. That's it. That's Werner Herzog. But there is a Q&A with Werner Herzog, and I will never forget it. That was my first time ever, like, going to a Q&A thing with a director. In the past, I had, like, bought tickets to go with one, but the director got sick, so couldn't experience that. But this was like a Q&A, like he was in front of me, a couple feet in front of me, and that was beautiful. If I can, I'll, like, edit a little picture in here that I took. But, like, one of the things that just stood out to me was, from, like, the Q&A experience, was Werner saying that he doesn't dream at all. And I was like, you're lying, everybody dreams. But he was just like, yeah, I don't dream. And I just thought it was interesting because the film itself was called Burden of Dreams. And I think because, like, I got to see Burden of Dreams by Werner, which stars Werner, I ended up watching two films by Werner Herzog. And one was the 1972 Aguirre, The Wrath of God. And this one was also filmed in, like, South America. And I liked the tone of this one. And just the premise of this one is they're in Peru. Spanish conquistadors are in Peru, and they are trying to find El Dorado. And they go mad. And the very last scene, which has Klaus Kinski playing a Spanish conquistador, I forgot what his character was named, and he's just like holding this like monkey. I really liked it. It like really did show like he had gone crazy. But it was interesting because it felt real. A lot of things felt real, just like the way it was shot. But that's like the one thing that's very special about Werner Herzog films. They feel so real. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one. And then the next film I saw by him was a documentary, and this one was called My Best Friend, which is about it's Werner Herzog and him examining his relationship with actor Klaus Kinski throughout the years. If you don't know who Klaus Kinski was a German actor, and he was known for starring in like I think over 100 films, but at the same time he was known for being very like he had violent outbursts, and him and Werner Herzog did like 5 films. But it's very interesting just Werner talking about his friendship with Klaus and how it was very loving and hating, and how like it felt like an ode to someone, like a goodbye, like not really a goodbye, but also acknowledging like our friendship is no longer, like it's not no longer here, but you're gone now. So that was a very interesting documentary by Werner Herzog. And the next up, this was like one of the films I saw, which I was like, this is okay. And I saw it in theaters, and it is the 2024 film Speak No Evil. Speak No Evil. delivering a performance. Meanwhile, his co-stars were not, which is embarrassing because I like James McAvoy. He's a good actor, and I was just like, what is going on? But that's all I have to say about that. I give it like a 2.5, 3 out of 5. And then next up, I have another film, and this one, it's pretty old. It's not that old. It is the 1975 Chinese film Breaking with Old Ideas. And this one I didn't see in theaters. Almost all the ones I listed I saw in theaters, minus the two for Nerdsog films. Part of My Dreams is not a for Nerdsog film. It's Les Blanc. It was directed by Les Blanc, but this one I saw on my computer, and Breaking with Old Ideas. It is a Chinese film, and this one was quite interesting because I'd never really seen a communist film before, like a film that focuses on like communism like that. And this one was very interesting. Like, yes, I was watching this on my computer. It was grainy. The subtitles sometimes were not catching up, but I think it was interesting to see how we view, like, it views the communist peasant and how the masses, like the workers, these working peasants, were so, like, the revolutionary. They were just so dedicated to their cause, and they believed in what they had to say, but also seeing how they're trying to get rid of the capitalist ideologies that still are still in school even after like revolution. So that was interesting to think about, and that was Breaking with Old Ideas, 1975. Next up, this one was very interesting. This is from one of my favorite directors, Pedro Almodovar. If you can't tell, I am wearing a Todo Sobre Mi Madre shirt with it, which is a film by Pedro. And then right here is a Pedro Almodovar postcard. But I saw the 2002 film Dr. Habla con ella, and that film I saw in theaters, and the same thing with that one. I went in there not knowing anything, and I left feeling gross in a way, if that makes sense, because the things that happen in the film, I'm just like, you're kind of just left there like, but I really do like that scene. I don't really like it, but I think the inclusion of the scene where there's a character named Benigno, oh fuck, I forgot his name. What was his name? Benigno. Thinking about it for too long, I just slipped my head. But Benigno is like talking to this woman who's in a coma, and he's talking about the short film he just watched. It was a short silent film, and I think as the viewer, if you've seen this film, if you pay really close attention, I think by the nature, like just the way, like just talking about the short film lets the viewer know what is going on. Not like what's going on, but what this character has done to this woman. So I think that was a good touch, because sometimes I feel like the way, I don't want to say too much, but I feel like some scenes, like, you don't need to necessarily depict what exactly happened to this person, but you could talk about what happened to this person, or kind of understand what happened to this character by them talking about another thing without fully explicitly saying or showing it. Anywho, oh yeah, after that I've done a lot of rewatches, so nothing new. One of the new things things on here, which is actually a new release, was the 2024 film. I forget the name of the director. I don't know. Was The Substance, which stars Demi Moore. Is it Demi Moore? Yes, Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. The Substance is amazing. I mean, I have nothing more to say. It's good. The soundtrack is great. The shots, there's some really interesting, pretty weird shots. But I think you could tell if you watch this, if you have seen like kind of weird French films, you could tell this director is French. Like, it's a French film, but like in English. That's what I'm basically trying to say. But it really does. I'm not somebody who really watches body horror often, but it knocks it out of the park. It's good. And I don't want to say too much without spoiling, but also I really like, the advertisement they've been doing for this film. I feel like something you don't see with films is good advertisement, and this advertisement, like how they did for Long Legs, is just good. And I'd recommend seeing The Substance, but if you're not into body horror, I wouldn't see it. But also, I would recommend just seeing it because I feel like, at least in American cinema, or like films that are in English that are like characters that are American, you don't really see stuff like that. And this just felt like a new thing because I'm used to seeing it in like French films, like foreign films. So it's just like, it's nice to see something like something hit this like on the American screen.